Welcome to Visual Fantasy Book Recommendations, the channel dedicated to fantasy and science fiction book summaries, reviews, and recommendations. It is very helpful if you hit the like, comment, subscribe, and share. Help build my channel, and let's take a look into the best fantasy and sci-fi realms out there. In the vast constellation of science fiction literature, certain works emerge like celestial explosions, brilliant, violent, and impossible to ignore. Pierce Brown's Red Rising stands as one such phenomenon, a novel that doesn't merely tell a story, but unleashes it with the force of a solar flare across the literary landscape. The book presents readers with a question that cuts deeper than any blade. What happens when destiny becomes a prison? What occurs when the very circumstances of one's birth, the geography of origin, the accident of genetics, transform into shackles that bind not just the body, but the soul itself? Brown constructs a future where humanity has conquered the stars only to enslave itself within the most ancient of hierarchies. This is no gentle dystopia wrapped in metaphor and allegory. This is a universe that grabs readers by the throat and forces them to confront the brutal mathematics of power, the deadly calculus of survival, and the razor-sharp edge between liberation and destruction. The author weaves together threads of mythic grandeur with intimate human anguish, creating a tapestry that feels both impossibly vast and painfully personal. Within this cosmic theater, a young man discovers that true strength isn't measured merely in physical prowess or intellectual cunning. It's forged in the furnace of the heart, tempered by resilience, and sharpened by the courage to stand when the entire universe conspires to force one to kneel. For those prepared to embark upon a literary journey that combines the epic scope of classical mythology with the raw emotional power of contemporary storytelling, Red Rising awaits. This isn't simply another entry in the dystopian canon. It's a thunderbolt of imagination that will leave readers questioning the nature of power, yearning for justice, and desperately hungry for the continuation of this extraordinary saga. Pierce Brown has crafted more than a mere setting. He has birthed an entire civilization that pulses with terrifying life. Humanity has spread across the solar system like a virus, but instead of bringing enlightenment and equality among the stars, it has exported its most toxic creation, a rigid caste system that would make ancient India weep with recognition. Society fractures along color lines, each hue representing not just identity but destiny itself. At the apex reign the golds, brilliant, beautiful, and utterly convinced of their divine right to rule. They see themselves as shepherds of lesser beings, benevolent guardians whose iron fists are necessary for the greater good of civilization. Below them stretch endless gradations of humanity, each color-coded segment locked into roles determined before their first breath, taught to worship their own oppression as sacred duty. At the foundation of this cosmic pyramid labor countless souls who have never seen the sun they're told they're saving. These are the forgotten, the expendable, the ones whose sacrifice supposedly fuels the great machine of human progress. They toil in darkness, sustained only by love, tradition, and the promise that their suffering serves a purpose greater than themselves. Into this meticulously constructed hell steps Darrow, a young man whose very existence challenges the fundamental assumptions of his world. Born into the lowest caste, he initially accepts his fate with the resignation of countless generations before him. His life unfolds in the familiar patterns of obedience and hard labor, his identity forged in the crucible of family loyalty and desperate love. But Darrow possesses something dangerous, a questioning mind and a heart that refuses to accept comfortable lies. Circumstances conspire to strip away the comforting illusions that have sustained his people for generations. He begins to ask the questions that power fears most. Are these sacrifices meaningful? Is the destiny assigned to him truly all he deserves? Do the promises of the powerful carry any weight beyond their own self-interest? From these dangerous questions springs a transformation that will shake the foundations of the solar system itself. Brown's masterstroke lies not in creating a flawless hero, but in crafting a protagonist who embodies the beautiful contradictions of humanity itself. Darrow emerges as a figure both inspiring and infuriating, capable of breathtaking nobility and stunning selfishness, sometimes within the same scene. The young man possesses the kind of pride that can either elevate a person to greatness or destroy them utterly. His stubbornness manifests as both admirable determination and dangerous inflexibility. Recklessness propels him toward impossible victories while simultaneously threatening to annihilate everything he holds dear. Yet beneath these potentially destructive traits beats a heart of extraordinary capacity. Loyal beyond reason, loving beyond measure, and human beyond question. This complex characterization prevents readers from maintaining comfortable distance from the protagonist. Darrow's flaws make his virtues more precious, while his mistakes render his triumphs more meaningful. He becomes not a distant hero to admire but a fellow traveler to accompany on a journey that will test every assumption about courage, sacrifice, and the price of change. The supporting cast matches the protagonist's complexity with their own nuanced portrayals. Brown refuses to populate his universe with simple antagonists or convenient allies. Instead, he presents a gallery of individuals shaped by their own histories, dreams, and fears. Family members provide emotional anchoring that reminds readers of the human cost of systematic oppression. Friends and rivals met along the journey bring layers of moral ambiguity that keep every interaction crackling with tension. Even those who serve as primary obstacles possess motivations that extend beyond mere villainy. They respond to the same system that created Darrow, but their responses take different forms. Some embrace power as protection, others wield cruelty as a shield against their own vulnerability. None exist merely to be defeated. All exist to challenge not just the protagonist but the reader's understanding of justice, mercy, and the nature of evil itself. This character work ensures that every relationship carries weight, every betrayal cuts deep, and every alliance feels both precious and precarious. Trust becomes a luxury that few can afford, while loyalty transforms into the most valuable currency in the universe. Red Rising operates on multiple thematic levels simultaneously, creating a work that satisfies both as visceral entertainment and philosophical exploration. The novel's examination of systematic oppression feels both timeless and urgently contemporary, presenting a vision of inequality so thorough that it has become invisible to those within the system. The story dissects the mechanisms through which power perpetuates itself. It reveals how oppression functions most effectively when the oppressed participate in their own subjugation, convinced that their suffering serves a noble purpose. Brown demonstrates how hierarchies maintain themselves not just through force but through carefully constructed mythologies that make resistance seem not just futile but morally wrong. Against this backdrop, the theme of resistance takes on profound complexity. The novel refuses to present rebellion as a simple matter of good versus evil. Instead, it forces readers to confront uncomfortable questions about the methods necessary to achieve justice. How much violence is acceptable in the pursuit of freedom? What lines can be crossed in the name of liberation? When does the pursuit of justice become indistinguishable from the tyranny it seeks to overthrow? The cost of change emerges as perhaps the story's most painful theme. Brown makes clear that transformation, whether personal or societal, demands sacrifice. Characters must surrender safety, comfort, innocence, and sometimes pieces of their own souls in pursuit of something better. The novel never suggests that these costs are easy to bear or that the ends automatically justify the means. Personal identity weaves through these larger themes like a golden thread. Darrow's journey becomes a meditation on the nature of the self. He must shed one version of himself and adopt another, creating tension between who he was, who he must become, and who he wants to be. This transformation isn't merely physical but strikes to the core of his being, raising questions about authenticity, performance, and the price of becoming someone else in order to change the world. Pierce Brown wields language like a master swordsmith forges steel, with precision, power, and an understanding that true artistry lies in the marriage of form and function. His prose cuts with the sharpness of a blade while simultaneously singing with the beauty of poetry. This dual nature gives Red Rising its distinctive voice and emotional resonance. The author's descriptions of violence never descend into gratuitous spectacle. Instead, they serve the story's emotional architecture, each brutal moment carrying weight beyond mere shock value. Battle scenes pulse with kinetic energy that makes readers' hearts race, while quiet moments of tenderness possess an almost lyrical quality, that provides necessary emotional breathing room. Brown's pacing demonstrates masterful control over narrative rhythm. Action sequences build to crescendos that leave readers breathless, followed by reflective passages that allow deeper themes to resonate. This ebb and flow prevents emotional exhaustion while maintaining constant forward momentum. The world-building emerges organically from character perspective rather than through clunky exposition dumps. Readers learn about this future society by living within it alongside the characters, discovering its rules and contradictions through experience rather than explanation. This approach creates immersion that feels natural and complete. Perhaps most impressively, Brown imbues his science fiction narrative with mythic resonance. The story carries echoes of ancient epics and classical tragedies, elevating it beyond genre conventions into something approaching universal truth. This quality ensures that Red Rising will endure long after its technological predictions prove obsolete. Red Rising transcends its dystopian origins to become something far more significant, a meditation on power, love, defiance, and the human capacity for transformation. Brown has created not just entertainment but art that challenges, provokes, and ultimately transforms its audience. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.